Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make a chart that looks like this rather than relying on the old-fashioned pie charts to display your data. So step number one was to create percentages based on what each quarter is based on the overall year. So the first thing I needed to do was to work out the total for the year. So I just added those figures together. To then convert those into a percentage of the year, I simply took that amount and I divided it by the total for the year. To make sure that that doesn't move along as I copy the formula across, I'm locking F4 in. Okay, so now that I've got that first one, I'll drag that across to get the other three, and then I'm going to convert that to show as a percentage. Now, so that I don't get weird figures, because the percentages will probably be rounded up in certain cases, I'm going to increase the decimal places to show at 2 decimal places. To now work out the remainder of the 100% for each one, I'm simply going to do 1 minus the figure. So that will then give me the remainder of 100%. Okay, now on my fancier graphs here, I've got little segments. Now how I created that was I've created a secondary set of figures to act as the dividers. Now depending on how big you want those to be will depend on the number of segments that you do. So I wanted 20 on mine, so I'm just going to do a very simple, just so that I know I've got 20. And what I'm then going to do is make all of them 0.1. So all of them are 10%. Obviously, if you want them slightly bigger, you might do them at 0.2 and then only do 10 of them. So with that data selected, I'm going to go to the insert ribbon, and under pie, I'm going to pick the donut. So from there, I'm going to select it, I'm going to go to format, I'm going to pick a fill colour that will work for me. What I'm then going to do is under format data series, I'm going to increase the transparency of that fill colour. So I'm going to make that it's got a high transparency. 70% there, that will do. What I now need to do is add my second series. So I'm going to go to chart design, I'm going to go to select data, I'm going to add a new series. So the series name is going to be the name of the quarter, and the value is then going to be the percentage for that month, or that quarter, sorry, but then also the remainder of the year. Once I've done that, if I go to change chart type, I need to make this a combo chart. I'm going to set both of them to be pies, to be donuts, sorry, and I'm going to set that the quarters is the second axis. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to select the bigger segment. I'm going to give that no fill colour. So under format, that's a shape fill. I'm going to set that to no fill. So now we can see through to the very lightly coloured segments for my original pie. And then I'm going to select the other segment, and then from there I'll give that a fill colour that I think looks good. I'm going to go for that very bright green there. Okay, so some of the things I can get rid of now. I can get rid of the series name, so I'm going to get rid of the legend. I'm going to keep the chart title, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little trick by selecting that and clicking on the formula bar, if I now put equals, I can click on quarter one. When I press enter now, it names that quarter one. Now, you'll notice compared to my finished version, the segments are very thick. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to go on, I'm going to set the whole size to 75%. Now we'll need to do that on both charts. So you see the quarter one series chart has gone smaller. If I then click on the other one, and again, I'll set that to 75%. Okay, now that I've done the first one, I'll do a bit of resizing. I'll put that over there for now. And then rather than do all that again, I'm just going to copy, I'm going to paste that several times. I'm going to get them roughly lined up with each other. Not going to be too bothered about getting them perfect. Now that I've done that, if I select all four of them, under Format Shape, I can use Align, and I'll align them all to the top. Gap between some of them's a bit big, so I'm just going to use my arrow keys and just get them all to be right next to each other. There we go. Now, with them all selected, I'm going to go to the second quarter actually. I'm going to do some updates. So instead of it looking at B3, I'm going to get that to look at C3, this one to look at D3, and then finally that one to look at E3. To now change the quarter two one to actually show its figures rather than the quarter one figures, I'm going to click into the graph. I'm going to go to Chart Design, select Data, and then go to the quarter one dataset and edit it so that its title is now C3 and its data is now C5 and C6. And I'll just carry that on in each of the charts. Okay guys, so now that I've done that, I'm going to get rid of the fill colour for the background of each of the graphs. What I now want is the amount that each segment represents. So again, I'm going to use a little trick. Rather than put it in as a data label, I'm going to go to the insert ribbon. I'm just going to add a text box. And then, just like I did for the titles, I'm going to click into the formula bar and do equals, and then click on the first quarter percentage. When I press enter, I get that. I'm going to copy and paste that 3 more times. And for the other 3, just update the cell reference to the next column along. Okay. I'm now going to move all of those into the center of the donuts. then finally, if I select all of them, let's make those a little bit bigger. Let's change the colour of them, and then maybe do a bit of movement just to get them better aligned in the middle of each of those donuts. Okay, to now get the nicer background that I had, I'm just going to insert a shape. I'll do the rounded rectangle. I'll draw that over the top. And then send that to the back. Now, obviously the titles are looking a bit faded compared to the background, so let's have a look at one of these backgrounds. There we go. Maybe select each of the quarter titles. I'll select the first one, sorry. And go along and change them all. To now get the final bit of information, which was the sales in the region that we saw on this graph, again I'm going to use a text box, but that's going to be based on the contents of a cell that I need to create. So I'm going to use the concat formula. I'm going to first of all type in sales in the, and then a space. For the second part of it, I'm going to reference the cell where the name of the region is, and then in the final box, again I'm just going to put a space so I've got the gap, and then the word region. So I end up with sales in the southeast region at this moment in time. If I now create myself another text box, and again just click on the formula bar, do equals, and reference that cell, I now get my title. So if I place that on there, and I'll just use the resizing tool to make that bigger, get that in the center there, and again I think I'll change the colour of the font. Once you're done, if you with one of the elements selected do Control and A, that will select all the rest of the elements on that graph. You can then under Format Shape go to Group and group them together. Now you can then move that graph around without elements staying behind. Okay, so the thing we can do now is, if I click on the drop down and pick a different region, we can now see as I pick the different regions, the title is updating, the graphs are updating, and the percentages are updating in the middle. Okay guys, I hope you found that useful. If you did, can you give me a thumbs up? And if you want to see more videos from me, please remember to press subscribe and click the notification bell. That way, when I put a new video out, YouTube will let you know. Thank you for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video.